Politics as usual.
So, Uncle Tom is a black man considered to be excessively obedient or servile to white people. A person regarded as betraying their cultural or social allegiance. All right? So, do you guys know where this term actually came from, the Uncle Tom term?
I've heard it before, but I can't really remember.
It comes from a book, okay, published in 1852 called Uncle Tom's Cabin. All right? And this book actually, see, it was the term was perverted because Uncle Tom in the book was actually a slave that was helping free slaves. Okay, and when you read this book, it had a profound impact on the attitudes of African Americans and people about slavery in that time in the U.S. about that time, and it laid the groundwork for the Civil War. Now, when they made the movie, they bastardized the movie, and in Hollywood they made the character what we now know to be an Uncle Tom, okay? But it did not match the narrative of the book, okay? So now in our society, Uncle Tom is an individual who completely sells out their culture, who does not represent, and I would say who intentionally and purposely badmouths black people to white people and doesn't ever come up with any solutions or work in conjunction with black people to solve black problems.
Uncle Ruckus.
Okay? That, to me, is an Uncle Tom. So, now, let's talk about some of these individuals that are self-proclaimed, either pundits, black Republicans, and let's kind of identify them. So, I don't know if you guys, I know y'all consume different kind of content, but there are some individuals, for example, that are all over YouTube, like Candice Owens, who you know, the Hodge twins. Have you heard about these cats?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know if they black. They so light.
I was finna say they real bright skin.
I mean, they real. They brighter than me and Clark. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's up with that. Anthony Brian Logan's. That's another cat, real dark skinned cat. Mind of Jamal. He's a black Southerner. He's one too. The Officer Tatum. These individuals are all what I would say commentators, you know, pundits that react to social things going on. These individuals I struggle with, okay? Because when I watch their content, I don't ever see them talking to black people. Their audience is all white people. It's all white people and a few black people who agree with them, okay? So it's confusing to me because, for example, like Candice Owens. Candice Owens wasn't always like she is now. You know that, right?
No, she wasn't.
Okay? I think that black people actually helped push Candice Owens to where she is now.
I'm sure.
Because she had conservative ideas that weren't anti-black. Again, conservative ideas are not anti-black. We are biblical-based people a lot of times in our communities. The Bible's teachings are conservative teachings. Okay, so this idea, again, I want to make sure that the propaganda is not spread. Black people are conservative in a lot of ways. Okay, now black people will vote with the more liberal Democratic Party because we have been shown from what we see that they like us more.
Because that's the portrayal that they give us.
Okay.
That's what they show us.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Now that doesn't excuse what these individuals that I just mentioned have done, right? So I don't know if y'all watched any of the RNC.
No, I did
you watch
see
some of
that
it?
They excluded Candice Owens from it though.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have her there. And
They didn't have her there.
She was a little upset about it, which, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense why you weren't there. I see Herschel Walker on here, so I'm hoping, was he there?
Herschel Walker spoke very passionately.
So that's where he was speaking at. That's where that's why I was hearing his name.
You ever heard of Daniel Cameron?
No.
Okay, he's the Attorney General in Kentucky. What about Kimerbly Klacik? Have you heard of her? She's running for Senate. Elijah Cummings that passed away, his Senate seat is open, and she's a black woman running for Senate. And she's running under the Republican ticket. She had a very controversial and ad campaign that she's talking about how Democrats have run Baltimore into the ground.
Is that the lady that was walking around Baltimore showing
that's
like
her.
the video?
That's her.
Man, get out of here. I saw that.
Okay.
Come on.
Right. Yeah. But listen though, what's sad about it though is that she's not saying anything different than what Killer Mike has said.
No.
Okay.
No.
But what makes them different though? What makes what they're doing and saying different in our minds? Like, why do we have a vitriolic response towards them? What about them makes us feel like they're not for our people?
As far as her, I didn't get that from the video. I didn't get that she wasn't for our people, because she spoke to some people from the neighborhood to kind of get their perspectives and all that. I just thought that the way it was presented, I think that's really what it is, the perception that it gives off, the way that they kind of speak on certain things. It always seems adverse to what is progressive for us, I feel like. So I don't really know enough about these people. You know, I'm not with the politics of black people buck dancing for white people's approval, because that's all I get from it. You see what I'm saying? Like when I see it, I just feel like you looking for them to give you some form of validation for something. Like you said, they don't have black individuals on, you know, they don't speak to us. So if you're speaking to them about our issues, then like that's who you're glorifying. That's who you'd rather speak to than your own people. So you don't give a damn about us. So I tend to not even pay attention. Like I went to Candice Owens' her Facebook page one day and just was scrolling and looking at the things she was talking about. And what I didn't like was, even in the George Floyd situation, it's fine for you to feel a certain way, but why does she have to vilify the man just to prove her point? You see what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
So those type of things is what turns me off to you. It's not how you feel about politics or Donald Trump. I give a fuck less about none of that. My thing is when I go on your page and see you saying that George Floyd is a piece of shit and all this, and he was a criminal, and that meant he deserved to die, or he was resisting, and like I didn't like that. So I don't like the way you come off as far as that goes. Don't use that to paint your picture. Like give us something else. Like
Yeah, and you know, my thing is this, man, is that you know who's an advocate because who speaks to you with compassion, kindness, care, and humility, right? If you want to correct your brother, your sister, okay, you speak to them with a level of respect, right? And you also don't do it in the public square, right? So no different than, you know, back in the day, if somebody talk about your mom, you could be venting about your mom, be like, man, my mom is this, that, and the other. And your homeboy's like, man, F your mama. Like, hey, hold on, my nigga. What you just say? Like, why do you do that, right? Because there is although I'm mad and upset at you, there's still protection there.
Right.
I don't want you disparaging my mama. Okay? I'm mad at my mama in the moment. Okay? But I love my mama.
Right.
All right? And I think that's the same way in the black community, is that we have internal, what we call house issues, that we need to address amongst each other and figure out what the issues are in our black community that we need to resolve, that we have to take personal responsibility for. That's none of white people's business. Okay? I'm not gonna go out and disparage my own people for an all-white audience. When you go to Candice Owens' page, the only people who follow her are old white men. If you go to these cats' page that I just mentioned, the only people who follow them primarily, their primary audience, are white people. Okay? A lot of white nationalists too as well, because the white nationalists use their video clips and they post them in all these chat forums to validate their positions of why black people should support Donald Trump and other individuals like them. Okay? So, you know, when we talk about Uncle Tom and we look at that terminology, is it ever justified to use it, and when is it appropriate to use the terminology? Somebody has to be an Uncle Tom, or should we just do away with the term altogether and no one's an Uncle Tom?
If you had to name an Uncle Tom, who would you say unequivocally?
To me, Candice Owens.